Want to discuss is Irish Ambassador to the US, Geraldine Byrne-Nason. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Such a pleasure to have you here with us this morning. Welcome back to California. How are you feeling?
Delighted to be here. We have a very vibrant relationship here in California. Great Team Ireland. I'm always happy to join them here.
Fantastic. And anything on the agenda while you're here in California?
Absolutely. Busy couple of days for me. Tonight I'll be at one of the highlights of my visit, a gala up in Sonoma at Ballykeeler Estate, where 50 years this year since the United Irish Cultural Centre was built by Irish labour, volunteer labour here, and we're celebrating that, but with an amazing American Senator, George Mitchell, who brought peace to the island of Ireland with the Good Friday Agreement. Yesterday I was dealing with our great business contacts here in California, those who invest, Irish investors inward, and also some of the business interests who want to come and invest in Ireland. You know, Ireland, not well known, is the sixth source of investment for the United States. So I know that every morning here in the great country of the United States, 200,000 people get up and go to jobs that are funded by Irish investors. So I was talking to some of those yesterday, making sure that our ongoing interests here are in good shape and indeed growing. We want to continue that relationship.
Absolutely. So walk us through a little bit too about the history of Irish relations and the business impact here in the Bay Area. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, you know, we're 32 million Irish Americans here across this great country. Already here in California, about 2.3 million people identify as Irish. In that great community and cultural heritage base, we have a really dynamic economy. So of the 200,000 jobs I mentioned, about 15% of those jobs are here in California.
Wow.
Big Irish companies will be familiar to many of your many of your viewers this morning. Companies like Glanbia, CRH, the Kerry Group, they create jobs here. And then we have, at the end of the economy that we're well known for in Ireland, high-tech, young companies here from our extraordinary Irish investment in California. Stripe is one company that thousands of people here are employed by the Collison brothers. That's a company that has a dual headquarter here in California and in Ireland, emblematic of the kind of investments we make at all ends of the economy. So this is a growing relationship that we have with California, and we want to continue that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that important context. Very valuable. Now, how would you say the current U.S. political dynamic is shaping the relationship between the U.S. and Ireland at this time? Obviously, there's a lot of, there's a lot happening, we could say, from an economic standpoint.
Absolutely. It's a jumpy environment, I'll be frank. The tariffs are something that Ireland has opposed. We do not believe that tariffs are good for Irish or for American taxpayers. Indeed, they're not good for our economic relationship. They're disruptive. Ireland is a member of the European Union, and as a member of the European Union, we have called on this administration to sit down and talk to us about any issues there are in our trade relationship. You know, every day between Europe and the United States, $4 billion are spent. There are about 5 million jobs between us that matter in that great trading relationship. I've already mentioned the Irish part of that. What we need to do with this administration, what we're asking the administration to do, is to sit down and talk about issues that are there. Grievances, I suspect, on both sides of the equation. I'm delighted that we're now in a 90-day pause. 90 minutes will be way too short for us. We have a lot to talk about. I was with the Irish Foreign Minister, Trade Minister Simon Harris, just on Wednesday, meeting with Secretary Lutnick to talk about the issues. We want to reinforce the relationship between the United States, Ireland, and particularly the European Union. That's the biggest trade and investment relationship on the globe, bar none. The EU has 450 million consumers, actually bigger than your market here in the United States. The companies that invest in Ireland operate out of Ireland into that 450 million consumer market in Europe. that's a big attraction for US investors in Ireland. There are 900 US companies working in Ireland. We support that with a really excellent, young, highly educated workforce. And much of what is done by those US companies in Ireland feeds back into jobs here in the United States. International trade is actually very complex, but it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So we want the US administration to work with us through our European partners. Europe negotiates on behalf of all countries in the European Union. We're well up for that, and we think Ireland and our friendship with the United States is a fillip to that negotiation.
Thank you. Now, we understand that your Prime Minister met with President Trump last month at the White House. You were also there. How would you say that meeting went? Because reports seem to suggest that the President seemed to say that Ireland was taking advantage of the U.S.
Look, we had an excellent meeting. I was delighted to be in the Oval Office. I've been in the Oval Office under the last administration. This was our first meeting with President Trump, and the Taoiseach, as we call him, our Prime Minister, had an excellent discussion with President Trump. Ireland, as I said to you, 32 million Irish Americans. We've been coming to this country for well over a century. We work in a bipartisan way. We want our relationship with this new administration to work well. We don't always agree on everything. And certainly President Trump, I think, in a way, gave us backhanded compliments. He said Ireland, he admired Ireland because we had made such headway in this relationship. Did he take issues with some aspects of our trading relationship? He did. We're well able to discuss those with him and explain. As I said earlier, it's a complex relationship. It doesn't always look like it seems. We told him, for example, Ireland is the biggest purchaser of Boeing aircraft anywhere in the world outside of the United States. He seemed surprised by that, like you are. So, $120 billion worth of orders from Ireland on Boeing's order book. Those are some of the hidden aspects of this relationship that getting into the room, as we were in the Oval Office, and having an opportunity to discuss these together really makes the difference.
Now, Ambassador, looking to the future, what specific areas do you hope to focus on to strengthen the relationship between the U.S. and Ireland?
Well, look, my job in Washington covers the entire gamut. So the business and trade relationship is really my focus right now. But we also have a very important relationship politically. Ireland is a European country, and we're very aware of the ongoing war in Ukraine, something that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. And we absolutely see that as a major political priority, that we put an end to the destructive war that was started by Russia, that will be ended in a negotiation. We want Ukraine to be in that negotiation from a position of strength and to recover its sovereignty. We're all sovereign nations, the United States, Ireland, Ukraine. We want Ukraine to recover its sovereignty, and we are full square behind efforts to do that on the continent of Ireland, on the continent of Europe. We're also working, of course, for peace in the Middle East and looking at areas in the global south which are threatened by famine, from Sudan to other areas where we believe support from the developed world is really critical. So we regret some of the cutbacks in US aid to the developing world. Ireland had an excellent relationship working with the United States, so we hope to recover some of those efforts in terms of a beneficial interest for all of those who aspire to growing their economies and protecting their people.
All right, much more to come out of all of this, I'm sure. Thank you so much to Irish Ambassador to the US, Geraldine Byrne-Nason. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.